And precisely just a few months away from the swearing-in of President-elect Donald Trump in the United States, we invite to our studio Professor Carlos Garrido, Director of the U.S. Midwestern Marx Institute and Secretary of Education of the Communist Party USA. Professor, Trump is already naming the members of his cabinet, and one of those names is Marco Rubio, who is known for professing a profound hatred towards Latin American progressive nations. What can the region expect for the upcoming years with these names involved in the U.S. decision-making?
So what we've seen in action is that who Trump really represents is the interests of the elite. And as far as Latin America, that pick with Marco Rubio shows that he's only going to continue the hybrid warfare, the sanctions, the blockade, the unilateral coercive measures against countries that decide to stand up for themselves, that decide to postulate their own sovereignty and decide to have a revolutionary socialist route for themselves and their people, countries like Cuba, Venezuela, Nicaragua, etc. So what we'll see from Trump is more hybrid warfare, while he gives symbolic gestures to his base, such as giving someone like Thomas Massie, the most critical individual in Congress right now of AIPAC, the Zionist lobby. Is he offering him a position with regards to foreign policy, which is why his base likes him? No, he offered him Secretary of Agriculture, something that's completely irrelevant for the reasons why his MAGA base likes Massie. And it also opens up a space, of course, for the Zionist lobby to put someone in Kentucky that is not as critical of the Zionist entity as Thomas Massie is. The same with Robert F. Kennedy Jr., someone who's very popular with the MAGA base. What position is he going to have? Is he Secretary of State? A position which the base would be interested in, because RFK is someone who has spoken against the proxy war against Russia, who has said that he's against sanctions, he's against the blockade against Cuba, as his uncle at one point was and was murdered by the institutions of the deep state for being so. And he's someone who's free speech. He wants to defend civil rights that are currently being attacked by both parties in the U.S. What position is RFK getting? Is he getting a position that is connected to the reasons why the MAGA base likes him? Of course not. The position he's getting has to do with health, which, okay, is something the American people care about. We know we're all getting poisoned and sick with this for-profit food system, but I'm sorry, but the question of war and sanctions and genocide is much greater. So what we'll see from Trump is a continuation of this war hawk policy against the whole world, this imperialist policy, while trying to posture to his popular base the fact that some form of symbolic victories for the reasons why they elected him, which is because he presents himself as anti-establishment. And I don't think the American people are going to fall for it. They're way too smart. The thing that distinguishes the MAGA base from the people that vote for the Democrats is that the base of the Democrats are never critical of the Democrats. You can look at the most ardent supporters of the Democrats, or the most mild ones. None of them ever want to really genuinely carry out in a meaningful way critiques of the Democratic Party. That's not the case with the MAGA base. The MAGA base has criticized Trump multiple times in the past and is currently criticizing him for the appointment of neoconservatives within his government. They're criticizing him for his positions on this genocide that, according to the Lancet report, the genocide in Palestine has taken more than 200,000 lives of innocent people, most of them kids. So I think this is going to bring about a definitive break between the popular MAGA base and Trump's figure as the sort of representative of that base. And that base is going to be up for grabs, and hopefully it's up for grabs by more progressive forces in the U.S. that are developing already.
Professor, many believe Republicans and Democrats differ over the most pressing priorities for the nation's immigration system, with Democrats being showed as the ones who apply more humane and softer measures. However, data reveals that there is no big difference in terms of immigration policies and deportation numbers. What is your opinion on this?
The reality is this, and it might be uncomfortable for some people to accept, but Obama deported more people than Trump. And at the current rate, it's true of the Biden regime as well. So why is it such a central part of the Republican and Trump's campaign to be against immigration, which is something that they try to spin with a popular appeal? They try to tell the working class base, hey guys, I know your lives are horrendous. You know whose fault is it? It's not the fault of the elite. It's not the fault of the ruling class of this country that has miserated you, that has indebted you. and that has kept you in the most profound forms of socio-alienation that leads you to do shootings and to do all these horrendous things that we Americans have to live through. No, it's not the problem of the system or the ruling class. It's the immigrants' problems. Those people that are coming from countries that we destroyed with our hybrid warfare and with our imperialist policies, they're the ones that are to blame. So what does that do? It divides people who have fundamentally the same interests, who are antagonized against the same group of people, which is the American elite.
Thank you very much, Professor. We were speaking to Professor Carlos Garrido, Director of the U.S. Midwestern Marx Institute and Secretary of Education of the Communist Party USA, just a few months away from the swearing in of President-elect Donald Trump. Now let's go to other informations.